Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Narratives, a podcast by Zoho, where we sit down with innovators, creators, and leaders who are shaping the future of work, money, and technology. Today, we are joined by someone who is redefining how students learn, think, and succeed in a rapidly evolving academic world. Our guest today is Dr. Amina Yonis, an international speaker, award winning educational content creator, and the founder of The Page Doctor. She's known for helping students navigate academia through ethical AI and PhD led guidance, and is shaping important conversations around education, research, and the future of learning. Dr. Amina, we are so excited to have you. I would start by saying I read Steve Jobs or heard him say that it takes a lot to build simple things. And you exactly have done that. You have the ability to break down complex, I would say, topics, work, ideas into easy to understand, breakthrough topics. How are we doing that?
For me, it was an idea of entertainment. So, being someone who watched YouTube videos and videos many, like 10, 15 years ago, it was always fun that brought me back. But education was never fun. So when I started posting videos and making content, I thought, okay, how can I make this fun and just kind of on the level of the students? So I started talking about education from just a very easy language, nothing too technical, saying, right, we'll do this essay in 5 minutes, we'll draft this in half an hour, just giving them really easy steps and breaking it down for them in a simple way. And I think that's how I've managed to kind of maintain an educational platform on platforms like TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. It's just about making it a little bit fun and a bit lighthearted.
Amazing, because I see that you started your journey by sharing your PhD days.
Yeah.
From there to then finding a niche into how I can help other students who probably would be facing a little bit of what I am into being into education for that long. So tell us about where this idea cropped up.
Oh, okay. So I've done 4 degrees at university, 4 different universities in London. So undergrad, master's, PhD, and then a teaching qualification. And in that whole time, I realized that there's a hidden curriculum. And this curriculum is essentially how to write an essay, how to write a research proposal, how do you write a personal statement to get into university. No one teaches you these things, right? How do you write a good conclusion? The lecturer teaches you the topic, and then they say, write a 3,000-word essay, and you have to go and figure out how to do that. So by the time I finished my PhD, I said, okay, I know how to do it really well, but actually I didn't know how to do it really well in my first degree, and no one taught me. And I had to get to this 3rd degree to learn how to do it. And that was how the story began, where I said, let me teach others how to do this. And these videos are doing really, really well. And even 10 years on, they're still gaining thousands of views every month, because students are still not taught in university how to write an essay explicitly.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I have a very close friend of mine who is now writing a paper to get into a university to do her master's. And it is completely different from the field of work that she's in currently. If it was not for the tools, the availability of AI to help us understand, I'm not sure how this was done in the past when these things were not available, honestly.
You just struggled through it.
Yeah. So this is like a lot of many things that are not taught, which we say life skills in the university. I think this is one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you get into a university?
Well, this is the thing. This is why my videos pre-AI were doing so well.
Yeah.
Because no one was taught this information. So they would go onto YouTube and search how to write a personal statement for university. And then they'd find my video. And in my video, I start by saying, I promise by the end of this 10-minute video, you will have a plan for your personal statement. And if you look at the comments on that video, it's one of my best videos I have. At the end of that video, people say, I can't believe I have a plan. I literally have a breakdown for every chapter, every section of what I'm writing about.
That
in
indeed
10 minutes.
is helpful.
Yeah.
I have passed on a few videos to my friend, I said, who is now applying for the university. But at the same time, while we were chatting about this with my friend, we figured out that there are so many tools.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of noise. You don't know what's working for you. Perhaps you've just heard that A, B, and C is working for me, and then you just want to go in and probably try it for yourself, but you're not sure if that fits what you're looking to do. How do you cut through that noise, Amina?
So I try to identify what my pain point is. So let's say, for example, I want to organize my calendar. What tool do I want to use for that one? Maybe I want to use Google Calendar, or maybe my phone's calendar, or even maybe analog tools if that's the easiest way. If I want to try to understand PDFs or understand research papers, what's the best tool I can use for that? So I might use something like Notebook LM, which is really good. Gemini, for example, is really good for that. Do I want to just help me write an email? Okay, let me just go to ChatGPT. So I first go backwards and identify what's the issue, and then what's the best tool that I can use to help me with that.
Tell me how easy it is to find the best tool.
Now, honestly, with social media, I don't think it's, I mean, there is a lot of noise, like you said, and there's a lot of people that say a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I think if you were to search, like, and do a couple of searches on what your issue is, you'll come across the same names again and again. Or if you have a trusted voice, like someone like, my channel, someone who has a platform that shares this information, you can very easily just identify what the easiest one is, or just use 2 or 3 and see which one suits you best.
Yeah. I think that is where you hear it from somewhere, and then you have to still experiment it. Don't go with the mindset that okay, it worked for her, worked for me.
Exactly.
Maybe not, maybe it may. Let's talk about a journey into you turning this whole idea of trying to make your content fun, to sharing your notes of how things can work and how is it for you, to into a business, into a successfully running business. Where did this entrepreneurship thought of being able to make money out of this come into the perspective?
Kind of by accident, honestly. It was during COVID 2020, so it's exactly been 6 years now. I was on my mat leave, and I don't have an entrepreneurial brain in my body. I didn't before. I was very much academic roots. Parents were very much university, office job. That's it. That's the end of life. But I think it was the whole COVID thing, the whole uncertainty of, you could lose your job at any moment in time, no matter what your salary is, no matter what position you're in. I had friends in finance who were making 6 figures who lost their job, made redundant. So it's not a matter of degree or education. And I just thought there needs to be something I have on the side in addition to my 9-to-5 job. So that's how. And then I also knew the issue that was, that my students and followers were saying about education and not understanding how to do these hidden curriculum, skills. And then I thought, let me provide that support. So let me make templates, let me make a course, let me do one-to-one meetings, do editing for students, and then people were happy to pay for that. And then I saw, okay, this can get bigger than just these small emails that I have. And then I created the Page Doctor. So it's a doctor because we focus on PhDs as the support, and the page because it's on a page and it's not like a human body. So it's just seeing the need and saying, how can we do something with this?
Amazing. Can you help me understand, is there been a moment where you feel you're getting lost between the tools because you now need a set of tools to run your business versus now you have a set of tools that are there to do the actual work which you do of what you run on a Page Doctor? How do you differentiate? Is this too much clutter, or is it actually helping you simplify? Building an education business today is more than just about great curriculum. It's about systems that scale with your vision. At Zoho, we support this with our technology. For example, Zoho Classes helps educators deliver lessons, engage students, assign work, and track progress in one place. And Zoho Learn helps organizations build structured learning programs. Not just that, Zoho's technology supports all the way from managing student inquiries and admissions to handling finance, operations, and communication, along with performance insights. Zoho brings everything together on one connected platform. Whether you're running a school, a training institute, or an edtech startup, Zoho helps you streamline the backend so you can truly focus on what matters, which is delivering quality education. Discover how Zoho supports education entrepreneurs at zoho.com.
Yes and no. So of course, as technology, we know of technology, it makes life easier, but it also makes life complicated at times. And sometimes you have to try to find a tool that can do more than one thing for you.
Absolutely.
So that's what we've tried to do. So, you have the marketing, you have like customer acquisition, you have maybe like content creation, emailing, invoice. There's so many different parts of it. And so what we've tried to do is just find at least one tool that can do a few things. So for example, like with designing for social media, we use Canva. How can so Canva can also make videos for us. It can also make thumbnails for my YouTube videos. It can also do, design for websites. So we try to find tools like that where it can do multiple things. So we're not all over the place all the time with different apps and tools and subscriptions and things like that.
Absolutely. This is exactly where I think we at Zoho also believe, because we do one sign up, one subscription, because you don't have to then remember paying for those 10 other applications and sometimes even forget where to go to for doing what and in which application do you log in.
Been there. And then sometimes, you get a notification saying you've paid X amount for this app. And I'm like, I haven't even used this for a whole, what's going You forget what you've paid for. And as a business owner, it does add up quite a lot as an expense. So the less and the fewer subscriptions we can have, but with the more capabilities that we can find, that's the better option for us.
I think that is also the tools you use, because if you're using the right tools and that organization believes in evolving with the needs and listening to the customers, they eventually end up updating and upgrading their offering within the same set or within the same tool or the same app that you're currently using. And at Zoho, that exactly is what we also do. A lot of times, in the past, there have been, okay, can I get this? And, do you think your app can further do this for us? And we have actually got back to improvising that, oh yes, this is also a need that our existing app can fulfill. You probably don't need another app to do that one simple task. And like you said, we're looking at doing more with that one. So managing subscriptions, payments, as an entrepreneur, not draining too much money into running those apps for yourself. But this also brings me to students who are on a budget. There is a student budget, and that's more tighter than I think what an entrepreneur's budget is.
Definitely.
So how is that convenient in promoting those applications? Are they affordable, not affordable? Where do you see a challenge there?
So far, when I've looked at AI tools and I've kind of suggested them to students, I'll look at what they offer as an initial kind of step in. Usually for students, they'll allow like a month free, trial it out, see if it's worthwhile, because you have to invest in something that's worth it, right? Doesn't matter if you're a student or not. So it gives them a chance to just see if it's worthwhile. So 1 month free or 2 months free, or even like a year 50% off. So I think as a student, it's about, we all spend money as students. We've always spent money as students. But now I think students can decide if they want to spend $15, dollars or whatever per month on an app that will really, really help them and actually help them with their studies, independence, understanding their literature and things like that. So I think it is worth them spending the money, but just take your time to try it out first and identify if it actually will work for you, and then you can go ahead and pay for it. And just choose one or two, not everything.
Absolutely, not everything.
Not everything, just choose one or two.
That's the key. Dr. Amina, it's interesting because I read your bio on Instagram and it says simplifying AI. It kind of stood with me because AI is here to simplify things.
True.
But you are helping students understand how are you simplifying AI. So tell me about that interesting title that you have in your bio.
So it's, I think AI, whilst it is meant to make life easier, because there are so many tools out there, it has sometimes made life a little bit harder. And one of the biggest questions I get when I have like consultations is, which tool do I use? I'm so overwhelmed. I've paid for this and that and that. And that's the problem. They're using too many tools in a scattered way. It's like having 7 books open in front of you. That's the equivalent of what's happening now. You don't know which textbook to look at because they're all open, right? And so that's the problem. And then there's the ethics of it. So how can I now use these tools in an ethical way? That means that I'm not going to get in trouble with my university. That means that I'm using it in a way that is, ethically allowed with the guidelines of the university and the professor. So now they have so many things to think about. So I want to simplify that and say, look, okay, just don't copy and paste. That's step 1. Use it to help you ideation and think about ideas, and that's okay. So just breaking it down for what they can and can't do. I think we'll stop talking about this maybe in a couple of years, but when everyone knows how to use AI. But I think right now it's still a hot topic.
It is. It indeed is, because And the reason why it stood for me, because a lot of times people are like, oh, well, I'll figure it out. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then you end up bleeding money
Yeah.
because you have now gotten into subscribing to 10 different handles, trying 10 different platforms, and then now you don't know who does what. I was at a marketing agency years back when I started my career, and it was a very super fast growing agency, which was good as a growth perspective. But I still remember my tab having at least 10 tabs open, and those were for just work.
Yeah.
Research separate and other things separate, just work. So project management is running on one. If I have to send a quote, is on the other. And now when I see that, why did I not know something about Zoho early on? I'm like, okay, everything in one. Just one tab, all your systems are running, it's streamlined, one payment, one subscription. Well, that is also something where we get lost in, because we think that, oh, this worked for her, this didn't work for her, maybe I should try and do my research. Which also brings me to how you think innovatively. Where do you think is innovation now? It's such a word, mouthful, right? Oh, you should be innovative in how you think. But with AI, with tools, where is the innovation? What are we now seeking when we say innovation?
I know, it's interesting that you asked that question. I think we're seeking still human creativity because that's something that AI cannot replace. So, if you search for a business idea on AI, you'll still get a limited number of business ideas. But something that the human can think about still could be beyond, it's trained off of us. We're not training, we've trained this AI tool. And I think we forget that sometimes. We think that the AI is bigger than us. Actually, it's learned from us and what we give it, right?
Absolutely.
So I think in the future, I don't think AI can ever completely replace us as humans, of course, because our brains are unique, right? So I think in the future, the innovation will be actually finding out the ideas and figuring things out in real life. And then you can use AI to support you with growing that business, scaling it, ideation, whatever. But actually, the initial idea and the core problem, the pain points that humans face will be from the human.
Absolutely.
And I think if you can go back, that's where we'll still be able to innovate more.
That's such a word, Dr. Amina. No, I'm taking this back as a learning because very well said. It's exactly what we're seeking. Because now, even if I have to go back to any experience, be it calling a bank, you have chatbots. And after a point, you're like, oh, please connect me to a human. This is where we are at. So, yes, it is about on and off, taking that step back because like you said, we are the ones that are training those AI bots and not the other way. You're a mother too, Dr. Amina. And where do you see this for your child in the next 5-10 years? Are you seeing them to be just so engrossed in that screen all the time because that's where it is? How are you differentiating this for yourself and as a mother?
Yeah. It's interesting whenever I tell people my perspective on tech.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of the opposite of what you might expect. But we have 0 screens at home with them. Yeah. I just feel like their ages are 4 and 5. I feel like I want them to have that initial start of life up to, 10 years old where the brain is still developing. I want it to be tech-free. So I think the same way that we, how we developed and the natural way for our brains
play
to develop.
Outside,
Creativity, interact, whatever, play with yourselves, do what you want. Just figure it out.
Yes.
And then, but I've told them about Gemini. So sometimes if we go outside, we see like a flower. And they'll ask me like, oh, what's that name of that flower? I'll say, let's ask Gemini. And we'll just take a picture on my phone and then we'll take a look at it and that's it. But so they know that there's like tools like this that can help you identify things. But otherwise, we have no TV, no iPads, no screens. They've never had anything. That's kind of my
I want
stance.
all of us to take notes. Here we are talking about tech. Here we are talking about AI. Yet, as a mother, we choose to let our kids go screen-free for at least 10 years. That's a good take, Dr. Amina, because at the end, that this is the future and they will be immersed into it. So I'm glad that, you are able to kind of give that space for them. I actually heard someone also talk about this on social media as a mother, as a pediatrician, that let your child be bored.
Honestly, it's the best thing.
It's the best thing.
The best thing.
You will bring out the best creative ideas of how they play with the most simplest of things that are just available at home.
They say to me, I'm bored, and I'm like, yes. Because I'm like, the brain is developing.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
Like, okay, cool. So you're bored? Okay, so you have coloring pencils and some paper there. I leave on the side. Draw something. Make something. You have your books there. Talk, figure it out. I'll read. I also get involved in them, of course, as well. You can't just like let them be. So I'll talk to them. We have like different toys, everything. Lego is our best friend.
Yes.
But yeah, I think when it comes to kids, especially that age, the single digit age, I'm very kind of let's let their brain develop, but you can tell them, of course, let them be literate.
Yes.
But in a more active way than a passive way.
That's very important. I think our intervention into their playtime, letting them get bored, and then slowly evolving into where obviously the world is going, and they will catch up to it.
They will 100%.
It's inevitable.
They have to.
They have to.
Even at school, they ask for iPads these days. So,
my niece and nephews are like, oh, I'm going for my tuition and I have to take my iPad. And I was like, oh, really?
Yeah. So, I mean, there'll come a point where they actually have to. So, let that happen.
True. Absolutely true. We talked about you being a mother, someone who did a lot into academics, 4 degrees down, running a successful business. Is there a point where you think this is all going to be irrelevant?
I know. No, I don't. I think a degree will always be of value. Maybe the type of degree will change. So something like, I don't know, maybe design. You can maybe design things online now.
Yes.
Of course, it'd be useful to have a human and when it comes to creativity and things like that. But maybe more of it can now be done with AI tools.
Yes.
So that might change a little bit. But when it comes to degrees, especially traditional ones like medicine, dentistry, law, things like this, like they will always be useful and always be valuable. And like I mentioned earlier, the human skills, the soft skills that we now say are soft skills, like, communication, they will become the hard skills. Because now people will be looking at you when we're sat there in person. How are you speaking? Like, how are you actually communicating with me? By email, anyone can write a good email now with ChatGPT, right?
Yes.
But can you talk? Can you communicate?
Interesting.
So those are the things that I think will take people further as graduates.
And how about it is from the content creation perspective, Dr. Amina? The irrelevance is so relevant.
Yeah. I think content creation has changed a little bit recently. People want more of the real now. There was a point where people wanted like that perfect, kind of aesthetic look and the perfect everything. But now I feel like the videos that do better are the ones that are just my day-to-day life, everyday things, just seeing the normal, not the aesthetic, not the luxury, not, just the everyday. So I think there is an element of us wanting more human now.
Absolutely.
So I think when it comes to work and career and entrepreneurship, tech is still up there. But when it comes to like social media, I think the normal human side of things is still coming out.
Right. Lastly, what will you leave us with, Dr. Amina, as someone who is in the field of education and the world changing so rapidly? What is it that students right now need to have as a skill that will help them now pursue from school to business or from school to work? What are those skills that we're looking at from your side?
So AI and tech will always be around. It's always going to grow. It's going to keep on getting more and more relevant and more important for you to keep up with. So on the side of whatever you're interested in, whatever you're pursuing as a degree, keep up with the trends. What is doing well? What has been released? What's supporting in different industries? Keep your eye on that so you can tap into that and maybe be a part of it before you graduate. So then, when you do graduate, you have the opportunity and you have that experience already. So it's just being aware. So don't close your eyes to technology. There could be a gap where you could feel that you've learned from your degree in your education that may not be tech related, but actually you can create something tech related from that. So I think, just keep your eyes open in the tech world.
Thank you so much, Dr. Amina. Well, you have all the wisdom here. So if you want to know where and how to get into the tech space, this is exactly what you should see. And please make sure tech is not here to replace you. It's only here to enable you. Thank you so much for joining us for today's episode.
Thank you.